What is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Unpopular, the pop culture podcast. Thank you so much for joining us for our very first episode. We're going to be talking about the new Fantastic Four #1 from 2022, Marvel's new Crypt of Shadows, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, and the new movie Bullet Train starring Brad Pitt. We got a little bit of everything for you this week, and we're a little bit sloppy, so bear with us. It's only going to get better from here. Once again, thank you for joining us, and let's get to it. What is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Unpopular, the pop culture podcasts. We're your hosts, Larry
and James.
Very immersed in the pop culture nerdy world of comic books, movies, TV show, and games, yet we still remain very unpopular, and we promise we won't change our name even if we become internet billionaires.
Exactly.
With your help, of course. We're going to be covering all the bases here. Me and James have been involved in the nerd world for as long as we could walk,
Since I could scribble and, watch cartoons, it started with, Superman, or Super Friends, He-Man, all that garbage.
We've basically been really lame for a really long time.
Yeah.
But all this shit's cool now.
Yeah. What's lame before is cool again, and, the cycle repeats. We still manage to remain very unpopular, though.
It's true.
It's awesome.
It's true. We try our best, though.
Yeah.
But like I said, we're going to be covering all the bases here. We're going to be talking about comic books today, a really good TV show, a great movie that I waited until this morning to watch. I really enjoyed it, though.
I waited till today. I'm glad you said that, because I waited for, last minute myself. So
it was fantastic.
I
guess let's go over the bases. We got the pull box today, which is our comic book segment, where I got a cool book that I'm really excited for. It has a team that I'm pumped up for, that the MCU really hasn't carried the weight for up until recently.
MCU, I have some of my gripes with it. Some of the stuff I'm cool with. Some of the stuff, a lot of I chalk it up to superhero fatigue.
Right.
It's whatever.
Why don't you scoot up to the microphone a little bit?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, but we'll talk about all that stuff and our poll and MCU related stuff and of course Cabinet of Curiosities.
Cabinet of Curiosities is the TV show we're talking about today.
Show, great.
But basically, we get a platform where we get to complain about everything, so you all get to listen to it.
I mean, if it's garbage, you're likely to hear about it from us. So.
And it's all garbage. Just kidding. We like some stuff.
We like some stuff. Not it's not all trash.
So, but anyway, I like to start the show, I think, with a little news segment. What's happening, what's popping in the nerd world, and unfortunately, James brought some terrible news to me this week. I was totally unaware, but James is always the first person to text me at 6 o'clock in the morning when I'm taking my morning BM and just surprise me with some nonsense.
Just come at him with any kind of stupid nonsense. Like, are you aware of this cursed statue in Denver? Just out of nowhere. But alas, there's no worse luck than hearing that Kevin Conroy has died.
The original voice of Batman.
The original voice of Batman.
Started in the animated series?
Yeah, yes, okay. Sir. He was, I feel like everybody always associates the cartoon Batman or any variation of the animated Batman with Kevin Conroy's voice.
I mean, he is Batman.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Optimus Prime. It's like you hear that voice, you're like, okay. And
right,
it's like,
yeah.
I couldn't help but chuckle thinking about it. I'm like, man, that guy's got the easiest job on the planet. And I'm not saying he doesn't work. The dude has definitely worked for decades.
But all he has to do is talk.
Dude, he's got to be Batman, and he's the best at it.
Yeah.
So who else is going to be Batman?
He doesn't have to do the physicality of it or anything like that.
Right, exactly. And he's been in what? He's started in the animated series. He's been in all of the video games.
Oh, yeah. Justice League, the animated... Justice League Unlimited, all that stuff. Pretty much everything that was animated by Bruce Timm. And yeah, he got started in the 90s. And I didn't know this until recently. He was actually the first gay Batman.
The first gay Batman?
Yeah, I didn't realize he was gay. Yeah.
Wait, Kevin Conroy's gay?
Yeah, Kevin Conroy's gay.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm like, did he play a gay Batman?
Oh, no, not gay Batman,
I'm like,
but
comic books these days.
right. You never know. But no, he was first gay actor to play Batman. I didn't know he was gay until just recently myself.
Right. Well, it's unfortunate that he passed at 66. Yeah. And that's a major chunk of everyone's childhood.
Yeah. I feel like even... and speaking of unpopular opinions, when I think of Batman, Bruce Timm isn't my Batman voice.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't blame you.
To me, when I hear Batman's voice, I think of Keaton.
Okay.
Just a gravelly whisper. You know, that's all you need.
Yeah.
Because I feel like anybody else's voice is probably a little bit too distinct.
Or like anytime you hear another person's voice that it's playing Batman, you're like, oh, you're trying to imitate that sound.
Yeah, you can clearly hear that it's Christian Bale trying to disguise his voice. That's a distinct thing. Like,
well, and I was looking at his IMDb and I was kind of chuckling because I was like, Scooby-Doo. Oh, he was Batman in Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Oh, this show. Oh, he was Batman in this show. It's like, oh, he didn't step out of that. He didn't put the cape down.
He's always going to be Batman.
Which is, I mean, good for him, man. If only we could have one very easy job just to
just to commit to. If I could just talk, if I could just do this all day, and
wouldn't that be great?
Hook us up.
Like and subscribe.
Do it. It'd be good karma.
So that is our bad news that we got for the week. Good news for any Pokemon fans out there, and this is exciting for me who grew up with the series when it first came out and the whole nine. Ash Ketchum has finally become the greatest there ever was.
Fucking champion.
He's the champion.
He's the fucking champion.
He's the man.
That is amazing.
He won, I guess, in the current series that they got going right now, he won the World Championship with his Pikachu against whatever dude's Charizard at the very end, which is so ridiculously unlikely. Like in every single episode, it's like, dude, Iron Tail is not going to take down this fucking Dragonite. I'm sorry. Like, I don't care what level how many rare candies you stuffed into that Pikachu. It's not happening.
They're just throwing all caution to the wind and saying plot armor is kind of what works here.
So. Right, but it's like they kind of had to have Pikachu and him. He's been with him on the journey the whole time.
You had to give it to Ash, man. If he doesn't make it and he's not the best, then what's it all for?
Right.
So.
But as far as news goes, that's really all I got. I'm sure we're going to have a lot more coming up in the next couple episodes or couple weeks. I'm going to be more on the ball about it. But let's get into our first segment of the show. Well, I guess segment if you want to count the news as the first. The poll box. Let's get to the poll box.
Sounds good.
All right, so...
Should you go first?
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what we got here. All right. So, this week at my local comic book store, Big Ben's Comics in Allen Park, you should all check it out. It's the best store around. I picked up the new Fantastic Four series. Why? Because I love the Fantastic Four, and I love Alex Ross, and even though he has nothing to do with the artwork of this series, he's doing the covers, which is enough to hook me and most other people into checking it out. And unlike the previous Fantastic Four series that have been out in these last couple years, this one was actually pretty good. Granted, it's issue 1. It's going to suffer from issue 1, where they put all that oomph into there and, all the power to sell and get people hooked onto that series. And who knows, 5 issues from now, it might be fucking terrible.
It's going to start hurting.
But it was a really nice story. We had it is your classic Fantastic Four sci-fi tale. We have Ben Grimm and his wife arriving into this town, and they realize that it's old-timey and weird, and eventually they realize they're caught in this weird time loop. It's like Groundhog's Day, which is kind of perfect for the Fantastic Four. Let's do a weird time travel thing like they always freaking do. And what was one cool thing about this, which I'll show you guys up close, is the artwork, it made you think, because it copy and pasted the same picture and the same page a couple times with slight variations to the point where you're like, wait, didn't I just read this? Is this a misprint? And that's the kind of stuff in comic books I really like, where it goes beyond just reading it. It kind of like stops you in your tracks for a second. You're like, whoa, okay.
Right, like what's going on here?
Right.
Did I miss something, or am I on a loop?
Right. And so, like I said, they're in like some weird Groundhog's Day situation, which is great. I love Groundhog's Day. Bill Murray. It's a fun movie. I like it. And... But that's not what we're talking about. We'll save Groundhog's Day for another episode.
Russian Doll is like doing the Groundhog thing too. I feel like that's like the close, not the more recent analog people are making now.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like Russian, but I like Groundhog Day better because it's the OG.
Yeah, and it's Bill Murray. It's fun.
Yeah. But I hear he's trash now too. I don't.
I'm on the fence about Bill Murray. I feel like everyone has put Bill Murray up on this pedestal. They're like, oh, Bill Murray. Which
I kind of felt was unfounded. Like, why does everybody why was everybody up his ass for almost no reason? I didn't get it. But I digress.
I'm on board with you, though. Let us know what you think about Bill Murray in the comments. But anyway, they find out that it was this guy who's like, has these weird magic powers, and he just got broken up with his girlfriend, and every time he wishes for something, or like, he's starting the day over by dreading about his breakup, basically. And trying to save it or whatever. And so they basically, like Bill Murray did in Groundhog's Day, you know, they go about, they meet everyone in the town, they try to get nice with the locals, they get nice with this guy, and they try to steer him in the right path. And it leads us to this segment that's like, see, I'll show pictures of it on the screen later. But, you know, it was like, I know you didn't see the new Buzz Lightyear movie because you're a grown man.
Correct.
Without a child. But I did. And there was a moment in there that was really sad where Buzz, you know, he's trying to escape this planet on his ship, and he keeps launching himself, and every time he launches himself, it takes 20 years or something, or 5 years or something like that. Oh, and so he's like the man lost in time, right?
Yeah,
so every time he returns, everything's changed a little bit, everyone's older a little bit, till he like opens up his boss's door that he had a good relationship, and it's empty. Oh, and I was just like, oh my god, Buzz Lightyear. I didn't know you were going to hit me like that so early.
That's rough.
But it was the same thing in here. You know, you see the guy get over it, he meets a new girl, and it, you know, moves forward in that fashion. Yeah. Until they're like driving away, and Ben Grimm's like, oh, yeah, I guess everything's going to be fine, yeah, but everyone's still pissed off at Reed Richards, and on the last page, it just shows a massive freaking crater in New York City, I guess caused by Reed Richards. I don't know. We're going to find out in issue 2. But what was really cool about this book is at the end, we had the Fantastic Four fan page where you just kind of get notes from the writer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it seems that he's really passionate about this book, so I'm going to keep going with it, because his 4 main points were like, oh, Fantastic Four are fun. The Fantastic Four are adventurers. They can do anything, and they are accessible. And I think that is a fantastic point to start a Fantastic Four series with, because that's been my gripe for years. I'm like, they should make me direct the Fantastic Four movies.
Hey, yeah.
You know, I mean, like, what have you got to lose at this point? You know?
Given their track record, nothing.
Because there's so much to work with. You just need to make a classic sci-fi story and not have Doctor Doom be in the first movie.
Oh, right.
You know, he's a Thanos-level villain. Quit throwing him into the first movies and then having him get defeated like he's nothing.
You know, it's one thing if they're going to have him introduced, you know, have him present, but don't have him be full-on Bloom Doom. Like, you know, they're right in the get, you know. There's just too much complexity in history there. You can't do something like that.
And he's just an edgelord in every movie.
Yeah, dude. Like, and
terrible.
there's no complexity. It's just it's a very simplified and boring Doom.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll close that up with, I really enjoyed Fantastic Four #1, and I think you guys should pick it up because I have high hopes for this series, but you'll see in the future where my hopes die. As they mostly do with comic books these days.
I'm glad that we can remain so optimistic throughout this whole venture.
But James, what did you bring to us this week from the pull box?
I myself brought with me, I got Moon Knight, but I'm saving that for next week.
That's me.
Crypt of Shadows, which right there features Morbius. This is the variant print.
Yep, so this came out, I think, a couple weeks ago in October, because I picked up a copy, and I was excited to read it, but I didn't read it at all, so I'm glad that you picked it up.
So I could be the guinea pig in this situation.
Even though I already spent the money, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean...
so tell us about Crypt of Shadows.
I'll save you a little bit of pain. Okay, so it's an anthology story... book.
Like Creep Show?
Yeah, okay. Like, you know, it's kind of like a little bit like Tales from the Crypt or something like that.
Or Cabinet of Curiosities, like we're going to talk about.
Exactly. There you go. It was all right. It's narrated by Stephen Strange's brother, who I'm not really all that familiar with.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's a vampire now, so I'm reading it in Vincent Price's voice.
Of course.
It just works, you know, if it's not
It's the Crypt of Shadows.
Exactly. So, like, you know, he's narrating everything, and he sets us up with the night, tells us about the first tale, which involves, let's see. Okay, so there's a lot of new characters in Marvel. That that I have no clue who or what is anymore. This new chick, she gets in...
Who is it? Let me see this.
Yeah, this... I'm not sure what the hell you heard.
That looks like some weird furry character. Here, show that up on James Cam really quick.
Right,
well, that's Stephen Strange's brother.
Yeah, that's Stephen Strange's brother. I'm sorry.
Marvel's like, all right, we're doing it all, baby.
So we got this werewolf chick. I forgot what the hell her name is. Hold on. Werewolf chick. You know, she's on her way to a Halloween party.
Sure, of course.
And she stumbles upon these two teenagers who just happen to be conducting a seance.
Okay.
And one of them just gets demonically possessed. To which her male counterpart says that, it was your interference that messed everything up, and now she's possessed by this demon, and the werewolf chick helps out, and demon's gone. That's kind of the end of the story.
Just like,
and honestly, I don't remember anything because the story was very forgettable, and it kind of sucked.
Okay.
I'm not going to lie.
Hey, that's totally fair. I mean, like... With anthology series, I think it's super rough, and we're going to talk about this later on when we're talking about Cabinet of Curiosities. I don't think a series has really hit the nail on the head as far as, like, a really solid anthology series. We haven't seen a good one since, like, Tales from the Crypt or Tales from the Dark Side. What is it? Not
Monster Squad. What the hell?
Monster Squad is great, though.
Monster Squad is great.
Monster Squad.
No, I'm thinking of that Creep Show. The Creep Show relaunch. It started off strong.
We're gonna talk about that.
Okay,
later, for sure.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. I digress. So, story number 2.
Yeah.
Actually wasn't all that bad because it features the new werewolf who is
New Werewolf by Night.
The new werewolf by night.
Okay.
What the hell is his name? I think his name is Lucas.
Of course. Anything that sounds like Lycan or, you know, whatever.
Lucas. So, werewolf, he gets invited to a party, and it turns out that the setup...
Cool costume, bro.
Hey, you know, so, like, what's his face? Like, you know, they show up, him and his buddy, they show up to this party, and it ends up being a setup by some unknown figure.
The artwork's really nice, though. This shot with Moon Knight down here, can you get that a little closer up? That's super slick with the werewolf and the Moon Knight in the window. Super dope.
It actually was a pretty good issue. This story I kind of liked. So, like, you know, there's this other werewolf, and it ends up being a challenge. The servant who opens the door quickly changes and attacks the new werewolf. I forgot what the kid's name. I think it's Lucas. We'll call him Lucas.
Yeah, we'll call him Lucas.
So anyhow, he attacks him. Lucas changes, and then all of a sudden, like, you know, Moon Knight crashes the party. Unexpectedly.
Of course, because Moon Knight's an asshole.
Moon Knight is an asshole, and he's an asshole who I love. So Moon Knight's like, oh, wait, you know, there's 2 werewolves here. This isn't right. And he finds out that homeboy Lucas here doesn't belong. He's like, get the hell out of here, kid. Moon Knight finishes the job. The story ends. Yeah. We never really figure out who the third party is, but...
And that's the struggle. Like, I'm looking at this book, and it looks like a pretty average-sized comic book. You know, like, we'll call it girth-wise.
Yeah.
Comic girth-wise.
Thickness.
But, like, and that's the problem with having an anthology story. When you don't have it big enough, you're rushing it. And then all the stories are just, like, they don't have that punch. Or it's just, like,
Right.
You know, it's not as good. Like, DC, good example, had a horror anthology book. I just tucked it away in the box. But it's, like, it was a $10 book. You know, it was... a thick one.
Yeah. I mean, this was $6. The stories, I feel like they don't have enough weight to kind of like really carry anything.
Sure.
But I feel like they might have an issue too where they resolve some stuff because I feel like a lot of the stuff they obviously cite other issues and stuff, and they're probably gonna carry on one up. But that story I liked. Story number 3.
Nah.
You know, Morbius.
Did he morb? Was there morbing?
Why can't Morbius get any respect?
Well, because they fucked him, dude.
He gets no respect. Okay, this story, it starts off, it's about Morbius,
and
right?
They gave him such a cool cover, too.
He does. He gets a cool cover. Look at that. He looks cool. He's morbid.
Yeah,
morbid.
That's the cover I bought.
That's what you do when you morb. You know, so anyhow, it starts off with Vicky Montesi. We all know who she is. You know, she's basically she's not the keeper of the Darkhold, but she's associated with it.
Okay.
You know, so anybody that
that's the Darkhold book, right?
Yes, anybody that basically messes with it, she's going to kind of know what's happening.
Which we'll probably see a little bit of the Darkhold book in the coming Midnight Suns stuff that'll hopefully be coming out and raise my comic collection prices a bit.
I can only hope if they don't completely fudge things and turn everything to garbage.
Well, I've had the whole Midnight Suns run up on eBay for 5 months.
The original from the 90s?
Yeah, and no one's bit at it. They're all sealed with the mini posters and everything.
They're probably going to sit there for a minute.
I'm going to take them off until it gets big, and then I'll put it back on there.
But I mean, I hope that Midnight Suns really does get the justice that it deserves.
Oh, yeah. Either way, I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get paid. Scumbags like me. That's what we do these days.
It's the way to do. So Morbius' story, it's all right. It starts off, he's attacking this scumbag, and then he starts seeing these little green bugs all over him. See that right there?
Okay.
Yeah, so...
he's tripping out.
Yeah, and they're disrupting his feeding, and basically he gets distracted, and this Vicky Montesi chick, she has this vision of him attacking this innocent. So she goes to find Morbius, tracks him down, and confronts him and tries to figure out why he's getting unhinged and whatnot.
Okay.
And she wonders why he's under this spell. She learns that he's under a spell, and it's these bugs that they're from the Darkhold dimension, whatever. And this story kind of sucks, to be honest.
But it's got Morbius.
It's got Morbius.
I'll tell you what. There was no more two hopeful people on the world for Morbius to be good than these two right here.
Believe me when I say this, that I want Morbius to be good.
Man, well, you know what? I'm glad I sold my, what was it, Amazing Spider-Man, I think it was 101, whatever, it's the first appearance of Morbius. Yeah, because I saw that thing, hike up in price before the movie came out. I'm like, oh, you're gone, buddy. And then it's, crashed immediately.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, whew.
Yeah, it's, you dodged that bullet there, sir.
Yeah, but, I love Morbius, and I want to see more from him.
Yeah, you want to see the guy, do good.
I want to see the Legion of Monsters.
Yeah, or Midnight Suns, all that stuff. I want to see him with Ghost Rider and, I'm the edgelord 90s James wants to see all that garbage.
Can we have the goth Marvel stuff, please?
Leather Daddy Morbius with the purple cape. I don't care, dude. Just to get the... But the story, he sees these bugs. Mm-hmm. So Vicky Montesi goes to talk to him, and she finds out that this he's under the spell that's cast by the daughter of somebody
sorceress
that he killed while he was under demonic possession.
Okay.
This chick here.
Oh, hey.
So, yeah, sorry.
There we go.
Get that on con. This chick here. Morbius killed her while he was, in a demonic rage.
Yep.
So,
as he was morbid.
Yeah, as he was morbid out.
Too much morbid.
So, Morbius, he's been distracted and he's really fucking hungry. So now he's going to go attack Vicky, and then Homegirl, who casts a spell on Morbius, appears out of nowhere. He's like, hey, hold up, don't attack her. I'm the one who cast the bug spell. So now I hadn't known that you were going to attack Vicky over here, so I wouldn't have done that. So it's like, you're telling me that you cast this asshole spell on Morbius and caused all this drama because you wanted to be an asshole.
Yeah. It sounds like some typical grade A Marvel writing these days.
Rubbish.
All right, so for our final verdict, I like to do a little thing that we're going to call Trash It or Stash It. And so, I'm going to say for Fantastic Four #1, I'm going to stash it. I'm going to bag and board this boy and put it in my collection and look forward to more issues, not episodes. James, Trash It or Stash It on Crypt of Shadows.
There is one more story on there that I feel like it's worth salvaging.
Okay, if you can save it, save Crypt of Shadows.
With this story, it's pretty awesome.
Okay, lay it on me.
It's X-23, Laura Kinney, and Man-Thing.
Yeah.
She gets charged with the task of recruiting Man-Thing for some superhero team.
Okay.
Well, it turns out that Man-Thing's pheromones unlock X-23's killer pheromone. So she just starts butchering Man-Thing.
That's kind of cool.
And they're locked in this eternal battle of just murdering each other.
Right, because he's just regenerating.
He just regenerates her, and she's scared, so she constantly feels fear and burns at his touch.
That's pretty cool. It's kind of like that's a terrible person to put your power against.
So the artwork is so cool that it's just like
that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like this. Her face all.
Oh, dude, it is so messed up, and it's like brutal as shit. No, this is the wrong story. So.
Ooh, I like the art. This is like old school Vertigo kind of. It looks like old Swamp Thing art.
Oh, dude, it kind of saves the book, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Honestly, like it's a killer story, and Laura Kinney, Ted Silas, they're just going at each other until they're not really Laura Silas.
That is pretty cool.
Ted Silas and Laura Kinney anymore, and they're just.
And of course. They saved it for the end. They're like, all right, we gotta leave.
And it was the money shot. Honestly, it saved the whole thing. Like,
but if you could trash it or stash it, totally blunt.
I would say that this is salvageable just for that one story.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. I like that one story.
I'll take your word.
It really, and the Moon Knight one with the wolves, that one was kind of cool too.
Right.
But I mean, that's just because it has Mooney in it.
Right. You're a fanboy. Who does that shit? Who gets into that stuff?
Not I. I'm not. I'm completely above all that garbage.
Right. All right. So that's it for the poll box this week. We're going to be moving on to our next segment where we are going to be talking about Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, and we're having an episode. Let's roll it.
That's right.
All right, so in this week's We're Having an Episode, we watched the first two, well, you got much farther than I did, but I got the first two episodes of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix. And this is relatively new. It's probably a couple weeks old. It aired in the end of October, I think. October 21st, maybe?
Yeah, just before Halloween.
Yeah, check me on that one. Let me know. But I looked at it as like one of those things, because a lot of times these days when he's producing something, they really slap his name on stuff and hype it up. And like people don't realize, it's like, look, it says it's produced by Guillermo del Toro. He didn't write it. He didn't direct it. It doesn't mean he wasn't involved in the creative process of everything, you know? But it's like, all right, let's see how this goes.
That's kind of, I got suckered into that with the Scary Stories movie. Because I heard that his name was attached to
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
I thought that movie sucked so hard.
And I grew up on the books, and they terrified the shit out of me when I was a kid, just by the illustrations alone, you know?
When me and Nick went out to Chicago to see King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, we stopped to the movies, and we saw that. And I remember walking out and being like, man, that sucked. Yeah. And Nick, who's much more forgiving than I, he was like, no, it was okay. I'm like, no, dude, that was fucking terrible. But I guess it's watchable if it's a good movie if you're a younger audience.
Yeah. To me, it's kind of like, I feel like if you're going to do something like that, like a Scary Stories, like adaptation.
Yeah.
And you should do a completely animated feature. In that kind of animated style, you know, like that drippy,
scratchy.
It's like the best way I can describe it is like if it's like artwork that was inked in like Nightmare Squid ink or something like that.
Well, it kind of looks like the Necronomicon from Evil Dead. You know, it's like that scratchy.
Oh, you're talking. Yeah. It's very
but not
drippy
drawn in blood.
Yeah, the blood outside the blood aspect, but like the illustrations, they kind of had like that really drippy, like it drowned or something like that, and the artwork is haunted itself. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it.
It's like I don't know if anyone has seen like Tim Burton's artwork. I used to have an old book of his. It was like the Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Tales, and it was all just like short poems, each featuring a different weird Tim Burton dude, and they were all kind of like dark and morose, you know. It's like but it's that same kind of artwork. He's got a really like scratchy, obscure, like watercolor on top of pencil, kind of look to it. But anyway, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities, the first two episodes, the first one, Locker 36, and the second one, The Cemetery Rats, or The Graveyard Rats, I think it was called.
Yes.
Both of them were fucking great. They were awesome, man.
Awesome.
Like, this is, like, I mentioned this earlier in the episode, like, this is the anthology stuff done right. Like, it may be a different writer for every single story.
That's okay.
But they're all doing great.
They're doing a great job being up for sure.
The first one, Locker 36, which features a weird-looking guy that I recognize from a dozen things that I can't pinpoint.
I can't remember. He played the what's-his-face, the guy who's going to be the leader in the Hulk.
He was going to be the leader?
He's going to be the leader in the Hulk in the MCU.
No.
Yeah, he's going to be the leader, man. Yeah, dude.
Okay, I mean, he's got a big head. You know?
Yeah, because he was in the first Hulk movie. He got the blood in his when he got dinged up in the end of The Incredible Hulk.
So says the leader. What a lame character.
He is the lamest, man. I feel like, how are they going to do this?
Well, like, the Hulk is always
we're going so off topic with everything.
We are, but it's okay. That's all right. People know that's what,
it's all good.
They like all this shit. But anyway, back to Cabinet of Curiosities. Oh, no, we're not off that. We were talking about the guy in the first episode.
Oh, yeah. But I mean...
But anyway, I thought it was really good. All of the shots are really interesting. They're all fun. It's all stuff that you can expect by something produced with a Guillermo del Toro name on it. You know, it's like they didn't slack on that. They didn't slack on the acting. They got good actors and actresses in all of these episodes. I'm only 4 in, but we're just talking about the first 2. But man, Locker 36 was really great because in these kind of anthologies, you can always see it coming. You know what's happening, but like it's always fun and unexpected how they actually play out. And I thought they did a really good job on that episode. It was all about a guy who bought a storage locker and he finds a bunch of, Satan or witchcraft shit in there, demonic.
Yeah, just a whole lot of bad juju.
Bad juju. Right.
And stuff made out of hair. You should never... Any kind of ornate wall decoration that's made exclusively of human hair. We should get an unpopular hair braid thing for...
I actually crafted all of these collectibles out of mine and James' hair for the last 6 months.
Out of hair. And he isn't getting it from my head.
It's all from my ass. It's all... I can't grow hair on my body at all except for my ass.
I really don't have that much to spare.
It's not here, trust me. But anyway, this guy, he's kind of he buys lockers and resells them because he's broke. We find out he's in debt with like a shark or something like that.
And he's a complete tool.
He's a total tool. He's like a super right-wing racist guy listening to like that radio that's like, oh, you liberal shithead.
Oh, yeah. Basically, everybody else in the country is a problem except for him.
Yeah, I guess our political affiliation. But anyway, he's an asshole, and he buys this locker, and he finds all that stuff in there, and the guy that he has checking it out and pricing it's like, hey, you have these 3 books here, you're missing one of them, I'll give you $300,000 if we can get that book. So of course they hightail it back to the U-Haul, and in searching it they find like a hollowed out back, and I don't want to get too far into it and spoil it because like that's, people can enjoy it and it'll be fun, but like I thought that was a great episode, how it ended, how it turned out. It had a good twist and it was fun. The CGI is not bad.
Right. Especially for a show like this, one of its big failings typically end up being the bad CGI and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this one, it was actually pretty well done. I was impressed with it.
Right. And it definitely, I think it took more of a eldritch kind of demon deal instead of witchcraft or Satan or whatever, and that I always like that shit way more.
Oh, dude, it's always way more fun.
Cosmic chaos and
it's the hot topic anymore these days.
Right.
I feel like it's just witchcraft is out. Well, witchcraft's still in, but eldritch and stuff, that's always a little bit more interesting.
Well, it's just more like you can get deeper with it. It's more interesting.
Yeah. You can overlap. We got tentacles coming out of orifices. It's all good.
It's all good.
Yeah.
And so first episode was good. Okay, Locker 36 or whatever it was called.
37.
Unit 36. Unit. But the second one was phenomenal. The Graveyard Rats, which does something that really just like gives me a tight chest when watching it and makes me like breathe a little bit like more shallow, because this had to do with like claustrophobia.
Yeah. This one was different, and to me, that stuff doesn't get to me as much. But the way that this episode wrapped up, really, it really hit home with me, because it finishes off with one of my favorite kind of practical gags of all time, and it's kind of like a callback.
Let's do a rundown really quick of the episode. So it focuses on another guy who's down and out against a debt, and he is the caretaker at a cemetery. And he has like deals with the mortician and shit like that, so he can get like the gold teeth out and all their jewelry after they're buried, so he can pay off
any kind of valuables and stuff like
right.
that. Yeah.
And but also at the time there's a terrible rat problem going on, and the rats are actually taking the bodies out of the coffins and dragging them somewhere. And so our guy gets a hot hint on a body that's going to have like King George's saber and a ton of gold teeth. And he's like, oh, I'm on it. But of course, as soon as he gets to the coffin and opens it up, he hears rats and the body's being dragged out. So he looks in the coffin. There's a hole at the bottom of the coffin. And so he's got to crawl through this tunnel. And immediately right then and there, I'm like, ugh.
Oh, yeah.
I hate that shit, And so it was a lot of that, digging through those tunnels until, he finds this big ass mutant rat down there. And it's chasing him around, until he ends up in this little trove in the underground, and he finds the saber that was dragged out.
Yeah,
and I thought this was so cool, because like, you really like kind of sympathize with this guy, even though he's a shithead, because like, he's just down on his luck and he was trying to make it happen. And like, when he finally finds that saber, you're like, get him!
Yeah.
Get it, dude! Like,
yeah.
It was really a cool change of moods.
Right, the shift in there, the balance of like, drama, I guess, where you're kind of rooting for him and he's a scumbag and all that. But like, at the same time, like, yeah, dude, like, eventually he gets to a point where he's ultimately caught in a rock and a hard place.
Right, because as he dug deeper, he found this weird skeleton statue with this gold pendant around it, and he's like, oh shit, like that looks really expensive. So he rips it off, and this thing immediately
fatal mistake
comes
friend.
to life. Oh, it was
fatal
such a
mistake.
Cool effect.
Yeah.
And the zombie, if that's what you want to call it, was really cool looking. Oh yeah, and it's like, oh, mine, chasing after him. So it's chasing after him in one direction, the rat's chasing after him in another direction. So he's just stuck in the middle, underground, and he has to just like he figures it out, yeah. And the twist at the end of this episode I didn't really care for. I thought it was kind of a cop-out.
Well,
it cut too fast.
It was, but at the same time, to me, that was a callback to Creepshow.
Well,
it reminded me of Creepshow with like the bugs.
Yeah. Did you catch the Creepshow reference in the first episode?
Which one?
So in the first episode, when the guy who buys the locker has the curator that with him, and they're going back to the locker to find the fourth book, he's telling them all these stories and shit, and they get out of the car, and the guy's like, I don't want to hear any more of that Creepshow, Creepshow nonsense, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know if that's a reference, but I'll take it as well.
Yeah, I would say it's a reference, yeah.
So, first two episodes, really good. I've gotten a couple more in, you much more than me. I've not really even disliked one of the episodes so far, but just like, you know me, I complain about everything.
Some aren't going to hit as good,
Right. And so yeah, I would definitely suggest Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. It's on Netflix right now. I think there's new episodes airing every week.
Believe so.
And I would definitely check that out if I were you. If you like horror and anthologies and being tricked into watching things because it says Guillermo del Toro on it.
exactly. This one is a good sell for me too. It does what it's supposed to.
Yeah, it just checks all the boxes. It does the thing.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good show.
So that's it, wrapping us up for I'm Having an Episode this week. And now we're going to the ticket booth to watch our movie of the week. So let's go to the ticket booth. But,
Not only do I have a ticket from the ticket booth, but I have a ticket for the bullet train, sir.
Oh, I see what you did there. This week on the ticket booth, we were talking about the pretty new movie. It's now on DVD, I think, by now. Bullet Train, starring Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
And it was... So this is one that I've kind of had on the fence for a while. I'm like, it looks fun, and I basically know what I'm walking into, but I'll save it for, a rainy day or whatever. And when I was talking to you about shooting this week's episode, and you were like, Bullet Train, I was like, yeah, let's do it. And man, I am so happy that you did, because Bullet Train was so much fun.
I agree, 100%.
Let me grab my phone here so I can see who it was directed by. I forgot who it was directed by, but it is the director of Deadpool 2.
All right.
Which makes total sense to me because...
Yeah, it has that kind of... that flow, I guess.
Well, it has that chaos. It has the camera angles that are dipping as explosions are happening, and it was just all over the place. And here we go. IMDb, baby. Doing all the work for me. So it was David Leitch, Leitch, and he did Deadpool 2, Fast and Furious, Hobbs and Shaw, and what was the other one? He was a producer for John Wick.
Okay.
Well, he was also, it says, an uncredited director for John Wick, but I don't know how true that is. You know how IMDb can be sometimes.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was thinking about the director of this movie. I'm like, man, watching this, it feels like if you took Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, and Michael Bay, and you put them in a blender and made a movie. Yeah, that's what it basically would be.
And it really works.
It really did. It had the Quentin Tarantino like banter, like the dialogue, with the Wes Anderson shots that are all very like
the colors and the palettes and stuff.
Well, the colors and the palettes, but I'm talking about like the straightforward shot. Like if this is a Wes Anderson movie, it's a straightforward shot like this. It's a perfect square.
Everything's
with me
framed
dead in the center.
Yeah. And
it had that vibe in almost every scene. And Michael Bay, because it was just all of explosions and shit.
Like when we say explosions, there's like that one car chase scene where they're showing like all these cars exploding. It was we're gonna go into the story, but two of the characters are talking about a chase scene where they're talking about their kills,
right?
And they're showing all the kills and all the cars that are wrecked in the process, and every car, I shit you not, it doesn't matter how fragile the bump is, just explodes. It just explodes. The motorcycle explodes. It doesn't matter. It's going to explode.
Oh, man.
And it's so great. Like, the whole thing was just spectacular. It was so much fun.
So this was basically, it stars Brad Pitt, and is there any other? Oh, there's tons of big names in this movie. Yeah. But the Brad Pitt is really the main draw. He's the main character.
Michael Shannon, he was in it too, but he doesn't make his guest appearance towards really that very end.
Right.
Yeah.
And so Brad Pitt is this assassin who has just, obviously he's taken a break, a Zen break. He's been practicing, self-control and just having a healthier mindset, and he's all very zen and just like, all right, everything happens for a reason, it's all good. But he mentions that he has terrible luck, and we see that from the get-go. He's like stepping in puddles and very shit's happening. Yes. And but he's finally going back and doing a job, and he wanted to do an easy job for his first job going back.
Let's not forget, because of his luck, he's also given the code name Ladybug,
that's right, which was super just kind of like cute.
Yeah, cute, like, but it works. Yeah.
And I think Brad Pitt is at a point in his career, which we're seeing a lot of these big actors do. It's like they're not taking themselves so seriously.
Oh, right.
This is not Brad Pitt from 10, 20 years ago. This is Brad Pitt acting as Brad Pitt in like an action movie. You know, he's just having fun with it.
Oh yeah.
Which you gotta love. It's kind of like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder or shit like that. Or who's another one? Nick Cage, who just will do anything.
Right, yeah. I mean, he's just making his money, you know. That's what it comes down to. But I mean, Brad Pitt doesn't have to make his money. He's just doing this stuff for the fun. And he's doing good at it.
So he takes this job to get this briefcase on this bullet train in Japan. Is it Tokyo?
Tokyo, yeah.
Okay, it starts out in Tokyo.
Yeah, it starts in Tokyo.
And he's got to get off the train just with the briefcase, and it's no big deal. But obviously, when he gets on there, everything starts to go awry because in a Quentin Tarantino-style story, we see multiple assassins all arriving on the train with their own agendas,
their own
stories,
origins,
and it all just like they all collide, and it's just such a crazy fucking movie, man.
Yeah, and it's because we have basically two main assassins, and then
I would say Brad Pitt's our main assassin.
Yeah, well, but he's not really even an assassin, though. He's just transporting, though, in this job.
Right. He kills people because he's unlucky.
Yeah. So, like, he's not a paid assassin, but he's on the job all the same.
But the two assassins on the train, which are the best part of the movie.
Oh, my God.
Lemon and
Tangerine, man.
So good.
Two of the best characters. They're twins.
They're twins. Right.
Twin brothers. But you wouldn't know it by looking at them because one's black and one's white.
Oh, they are the best part about the movie.
Awesome characters.
Because they're the ones where we really see that Tarantino-style banter. And their job is to get the briefcase also, or they had the briefcase. They came onto the train with the briefcase initially, and he stashed it. And they were also rescuing the big bad mob boss of Japan.
The White Death.
But like, they're getting his son. His son's a total asshole, but they're trying to transport him. And the fun thing about it was Lemon. Lemon loves. He's this like
Thomas.
He's a big black dude, and he's like Thomas the Tank Engine, everything, and it's like the cutest thing because he analyzes everything and breaks it down to Thomas the Tank.
Like
Engine. He has a little sticker book,
right? Like every character in in this movie, he can attribute to being a Thomas the Tank Engine character.
He's like, are you a Diesel? Are you Gordon? Are you Tom? Are you whatever? And he's probably the best character.
Oh yeah,
hands down. And so that's their job. And so obviously they clash from the get-go. The briefcase gets mixed up. They're butting heads. And then we find out more and more and more assassins are arriving. Well, actually, before they even met and before they butt heads, Brad Pitt's character, Ladybug, has a run-in with the Wolf.
The Wolf.
Who is another assassin character where they gave us an old Tarantino-style Kill Bill backstory on.
So, to get into all these assassins it would be too much. It's like this anthology comic. It's too many stories to get into.
But they do such a good job of breaking it down in a short little gap.
Right. And like, you feel like you're not missing anything.
Yeah.
Because they're all there throughout the entire thing, but they're not necessarily seen.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just rich storytelling for all of them, and like, you know, they're all great.
And the thing is, like, they have no reason to butt heads, but it's just like based on both of their instinct or their misconceptions about the mission and stuff like that. Everyone has a misunderstanding of what everyone's doing, which leads to more chaos, almost like an episode of Seinfeld.
Yeah, it's basically it just comes down to, like, you know, everybody just trying to think that they're doing their part of the job,
right?
You know,
and it's just misunderstanding after misunderstanding, and which just because like he ends up killing the wolf on accident. The wolf throws a knife at him. He blocks it with his briefcase, and the knife goes right into the wolf's heart and kills him. So the wolf dies, and then someone poisons the mob boss's son. And so when Brad Pitt and Lemon and Tangerine meet, and Brad Pitt's talking to one of them, and he's like, "Oh, the dead body."
Yeah, but we didn't even get to the father and his son and the elder.
We'll get there in a second. That's like
so much stuff.
That's like minimum. You know, that's
like the whole story, though, man. Almost, really, the grand scheme. It's a lot of stuff. So, okay, so he kills the wolf.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they're having misconceptions because Brad Pitt thinks the dead body they're talking about is the wolf.
Right.
And they think he's talking about the sun. So that's just one of the things about the misconceptions. But break it down for the whole reason they're kind of on this train, or like one of our main characters.
Yeah, but so the whole time, Lemon and Tangerine, the son gets killed by another assassin.
Right.
And we think that it's the snake first, because there's that loose snake.
Right.
Oh my god, there's so much.
There's so much going on.
So much stuff in this movie.
So basically, to like one of our characters that's after the big baddie of the movie that is on the bullet train, his son was murdered or put in critical condition by this big baddie.
Pushed off of a roof. And so he went to go hunt her down and kill her because she left him a note. Yes.
And it's this sweet little girl, and you realize very quickly that she is kind of the main schemer of this whole
She is absolutely an awful person.
Awful
100%.
person.
Yes.
But she's a great schemer. She does a good job. But as, you know, Brad Pitt and all of the other assassins kind of clash with each other, it's really just, I was describing it as like chaos in a vacuum, man. It's just like you have so much going on. Every scene of this movie is an action scene.
Yeah.
Every single one. And it's all in this tiny, cramped little space. And it just adds to the thrill of the whole movie, because they're going like 200 miles an hour, and you know, it's just,
no matter what, it's like every scene it opens up like another set of scenario, like just another scenario where it's like, oh man, it's just gonna get crazy, and It does, and it just gets progressively crazy because we learn about new characters and we're wondering who killed who, and you know,
the story evolves and blooms so much as the movie goes on, and it's just like, it always kept me being like, oh, I didn't expect that. Oh, I didn't expect that. Because just when you get comfortable and you think you know what's going on, you absolutely don't. And it's in the heap of samurais, yakuza, fucking guns, and
Channing
oh
Tatum.
My God. Channing Tatum makes an appearance in this movie as just one of the passengers,
and it's like he might as well just be Channing Tatum, but like,
it's like that's what he's doing. It's just like how he was in This Is the End or whatever that other movie is.
Yeah.
But you know, he shows Brad Pitt's character Ladybug sits next to him. He's like, "Hey, you want to make a quick $200?" And Channing, you see the newspaper come down. It's Channing Tatum, and he goes,
"It's like,
is this sex stuff?"
It's like, sex stuff? Everything he's just going to associate with sex stuff. And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, good, bro.
Like, no, I just need you to wear my glasses so they think that you're them. But there was just little things like that throughout the whole movie that really just drove it home. It was fun. It was funny. It was action-packed. It had all the things I like. It had a banging soundtrack. And I like to complain about movies having pop music throughout the whole thing, but these were all like Japanese remixes of pop songs with like a jazz funk back.
Well, but
like,
then there's like Engelbert Humperdinck.
Right.
I mean, like, that was awesome. And it played really well into that scene. You know, like stuff like that. It was really good. So much good stuff.
And, it was so unexpected, and I haven't heard anyone talking about this movie.
Which is really weird. You know, I feel like it should be talked about more.
One thing I'd like to mention that was pretty lazy about this movie is that it didn't rely on it, but I can't help but notice it, that popular blue and pink backlighting that every fucking movie needs to do these days. They're like, oh, every poster needs to be pink and blue. Every scene needs to be pink and blue. Last Night in Soho, Aladdin, all of these other Star Wars. Yeah. All of these movie posters use that same color palette.
You have no idea how close I came to wearing my bright pink t-shirt to go with the blue.
What a lame color palette that people would choose.
Blue with the pink here. And this isn't blue at all.
Well, I'm eating my words on that one, but look at that. We're trying to be popular.
I hope it's not working. Being popular is overblown.
That's not what we're trying to do at all.
No, it's clearly working for the best.
But at the end of the day, I could not suggest Bullet Train more.
It was a great movie. So much fun. The movie is loaded with cameos. I can't really say that all the big stars that are really in it aren't really starring it because they're only in it briefly. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it's loaded with a lot of cameos.
But it's more fun that way.
Yeah, you know,
I don't want to see Channing Tatum boss up.
It's self-aware in that regard. Like, you know, we won't spoil the surprises as to who else shows up.
Right.
For no apparent reason, but it's great. You know, you won't be disappointed. It's just a fun movie all around.
From the beginning to end, say Bullet Train is a go. So I would highly suggest Bullet Train. But that is all we have for our very first episode of Unpopular, the pop culture podcast. There will be more to follow. Each episode will get beefier and meatier with more shit for us to talk about.
It won't be nearly as choppy, we promise.
This isn't going to be choppy. Little as James know, this is all going. This is all in it, baby. It's all good.
Unedited, just raw, just ship it.
We're striving for excellence here, and we hope that you will join us on that journey in the future. So until next time, take it easy, my friends, and we will see you next time.
Later.